Hello, everyone. I am finally back live Monday night, 9 p.m., and finally doing the live stream of A Glitch in the Matrix. So, thank you all for joining me tonight after putting this subject back for 2 weeks now. Well, it's finally here. So here we go. We are going to start. So grab your comfy blanket, your bowl of popcorn, and some hot cocoa. And here we go with the glitch in the matrix. So I would like to say hi to everyone also that is popping in the chat. I see Charmaine. Hello, sis. Thank you for joining me. It's really appreciated. So yeah, I wrote some few reminders in the chat while I was waiting for it to start. So if you have time to read everything, that's good. So I'm going to start. I don't know how long the live stream will last tonight, but it's I find it's a really interesting subject. So here we go. It's called Glitch in the Matrix. Then it says here, these are all stories that I found off of websites and everything. So it start off by saying a glitch in the matrix is when a weird or unexplained event happens and it seems to tear a hole in the fabric of reality. It's the kind of thing that gives you a shaken suspicion that something isn't right in the world. It could be a strange coincidence, a moment of deja vu, a premonition, or just something completely freaky. Here are some creepy true stories of glitches in the Matrix reported by real people. Okay, so they're like these mini stories. So here's the first one. The title is I Died on the Corner. So years ago, I worked at a store, but my job was to stand outside with a billboard trying to attract customers. One day when I was standing out on the sidewalk, I saw a van coming straight towards me. It suddenly jumped the curb and smashed into me. I felt it crush me against the electrical box. A traffic light of the traffic lights, sorry, the electrical box of the traffic lights. I saw a quick flash as the traffic light flickered off, and then I blanked out. I gasped and realized I was still on the corner, but none of that had happened. There was no van, no accident, no anything. I was so shaken by the experience that I decided to take a break and started walking back to the store. All of a sudden, I heard a huge crash behind me. I turned around and saw that a van had just jumped the curb and smashed into the traffic lights, crushing the electrical box. I saw a quick flash as the traffic lights flickered off. Needless to say, I took the rest of the day off. So, there'll be stories like that. Oh, hello. I got some more people popping in. I've got Christina. I've got Debbie. I got Vodka. Hello. All these wonderful sisters have joined me tonight. This is so fun. So, yeah, if you see the live stream stops, it's because I lost internet or power. We've got a lot of snow here. It's thick, I would say, sticky and thick. So it's heavy for the electrical power lines and stuff and trees. So A lot of people has is out of power. So okay, so I'll go on to the second story. And if you came in late and you would like to hear the first story, you'll just have to wait for the replay and you will hear it from there. So, story number 2. Did he really die? I was at work when my mom called to tell me some terrible news. My uncle had died. I was shocked and very sad. Hearing of the loss really affected me. A few weeks later, I was talking to my sister, and she mentioned that my aunt and uncle were doing something. But isn't he dead? I said, puzzled. No, my sister said, he's not. I called my mom, and she told me the same thing. He wasn't dead. To this day, I'm still not sure if I imagined it or if it really happened. It still freaks me out. So that was a short one, we could say. Oh, Face the Ace. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. Nice to have you. So, and we'll move on to the next one. I don't speak French. This happened a few years ago. One morning I woke up and my girlfriend and I had a conversation in bed uh, and in French. I got out of bed and went to take a shower. Just as I was turning on the water, I realized something. Neither of us speak French. I went back to the bedroom and asked her about it. She remembered the conversation happening, but she was just as confused as I was. Sorry. I can't even tell you what the conversation was about because I don't speak French. That is weird. So it's all these weird stories like this that we're going to be hearing tonight. I don't know how long the live stream will be, but I've got like 3 web pages like this, short stories like that. So let's see. Either way, I'll take it back like after the holidays. I'll continue on this subject after the holidays, if ever, because tomorrow starts my new series, Santa Screams. All videos that will be coming out starting tomorrow will be Christmas themed videos. So, all for your enjoyment. They all come out every day at 10 a.m. So, keep an eye out for them. Okay, here's another story. Father in a coma. When I was 7 years old, my father got into a serious car accident. He was badly injured and he was in a coma for 2 weeks. During that time, I kept catching brief glimpses of him wandering around the house looking confused. Every time I saw him, I would tell my mom, but she just dismissed it as my overactive imagination. When my father finally recovered and came out of the coma, my mother told him about the sightings. My father listened quietly, then asked me to leave the room so he and my mom could talk. I had no idea what they were talking about. Years later, when I was 18, my dad sat me down and finally revealed the secret he had been keeping from me. He said that at the time he didn't want to scare me, but while he had been in the coma, he remembered wandering around our house looking for everyone and trying to figure out why the house was empty. He said he would randomly catch brief glimpse of me standing there staring at him. I still get goosebumps thinking about it. Ooh, that one's a little creepy. Your wrench is gone, sis? Oh, okay. Um, well, after the live stream, I'll go back to the chat and I'll give it to you because I don't have it open right now to give it to you, but I will, I promise. I have the same problem as Amy, like she was explaining the other day. It's the same thing here. I guess we give out too many wrenches. I'm not sure, but I'll give it back to you. And whoever wants a wrench, just let me know in the chat or something. A different path. One day I was walking to work when I had the sudden urge to take a different path than usual. I don't know why. It was just a strange sup of a moment decision. I walked down a street I had never seen before, and all of a sudden, something weird happened. It was like my mind just became scrambled. I felt like I was floating outside of my body, as if I was in some weird alternate dimension. I started seeing different colors and shapes, and then I had a vision. I saw a group of strange looking people. They looked like businessmen in suits. They looked straight what they looked startled when they realized I could see them. One of the people made a quick movement, sorry, and suddenly everything turned to black. When I came back to normal, I was on a completely different street. It was the same street that I always used to walk to work. I felt sick and severely disturbed. The weird thing is, when the glitch was occurring itself, I could see those strange people watching me like I was a cage animal, and I had the feeling that I was being controlled somehow. It still bothers me. Thank you, Debbie, for sharing the links. So, yeah, that one is kind of weird. This one, I was freaking out a bit. It took me like maybe two times to realize what the story is, but it's just me. Maybe you guys will get it on first try, but here it goes. A strange accident. I was driving through a tunnel, and when I came out on the other side, I saw something that made me suddenly slam on the brakes and skid to a stop. There were five cars sitting upside down in the middle of the road. I thought I had come across the scene of a horrible accident, but then I realized there was not a single person in sight. The cars were completely empty, no headlights on, no police, no fire trucks, no ambulances, no tow trucks, nothing. Then I realized something that made me slam my foot down on the accelerator and get out of there as fast as I could. There was not a single dent on any of the vehicles. They were just sitting there upside down in the middle of the road. It had freaked me out to think about it ever since, and everyone thinks I'm making it up, but that was a glitch in the matrix, if ever there was one. I checked the news for days afterwards, but there were no reports of any accidents in the area. So that one was weird. Like I would have never thought and check and see if the cars were dent or something. But I guess it came naturally that okay, they're not even broken the cars, so what's up? I don't know. Kind of weird. Oh, and this one, check out this one, guys. The dangers of time travel. One night when I was just a child, I had a bad dream. Whenever I had a bad dream, my dad would comfort me by letting me play with Legos. I went looking for my dad and found him in the living room. There was a strange man sitting in a chair I had never seen before, and he was talking to my dad. When I came in and walked up to them, my dad shooed me away. He got out the Legos and left me playing with it on the floor while he talked to the strange man. They talked for some time about things I didn't understand, and neither of them said a word to me. Eventually, I finally fell asleep. When I woke up in the morning, I was back in my own bed. But then, listen to this. Years later, when I was grown up, I had a strange dream. In the dream, I was sitting in a chair talking to my dad about the future. I saw a young boy enter the room and come towards us. My dad got up, took out a box of Legos, and gave it to the boy to play with. My dad sat down again and began telling me about the dangers of time travel and how everything could change if I ever met myself. He said it would mess up the space time. He insisted that we wait until the young boy fell asleep. Then we continued talking about the future. Now that one is ooh. Hello, Pocket Watch. Welcome. Nice to see you. Now that one was strange, don't you think? Okay, the next one. It's called I Blinked. Okay. It was the night before our son's birthday. He was in bed, and my husband and I were in the living room wrapping his presents. We heard footsteps on the stairs, so we hid the presents. Our son came down the stairs, went into the bathroom, and shut the door. We stood there waiting for him to go back to bed so we could finish wrapping the presents. Finally, after waiting for more than 10 minutes, I went to see what was taking him so long. I knocked on the door and asked if he was okay in there. No answer. So I opened the door. The bathroom was empty. I ran upstairs to his bedroom, turned on his lights, and saw my son getting back into bed. How did you get back up here so fast? I asked. All he said was, I blinked, Mom. I do it all the time. That's all he says about it. He blinked. So he blinks and he boops, he's right upstairs. Oh, Sherry, thank you. Thank you for being a member. You are so awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so my membership program is back and it should stay this time. And it's only going to be one tier, and that tier is $199. but I'm planning on adding more advantages for you. I should put it up in a video soon. So, yeah. So, thank you very much. So, now I'm up to two because Eric is a member also, but I don't think he's here tonight. So, thank you again. Okay, let's continue. Oh, yes, this one, falling off a cliff. Wow. Just the title. My whole class went on a school trip one year. I was monkeying around on the edge of a cliff, and two of my friends were nearby. All of a sudden, as they watched in horror, I lost my footing and they saw me fall over the edge. My friends thought I was dead because it was a sheer drop. They ran to the edge of the cliff and preed over, but they couldn't see me. Just then I came walking up behind them and asked what's happened. They were freaked out and explained that they had just watched me fall to my death. I thought they were joking at first, but they were so scared and upset that I had to take them seriously. I still don't know what happened that day. Maybe I died and was replaced. Maybe my doppelganger died. Maybe the me in some alternate dimension died. That was weird. Imagine. The bully who wasn't. The bully who wasn't. Okay. When I was in school, there was a boy who was very big for his age. His name was Vern, and everyone was afraid of him. He bullied all the other kids and made our lives miserable. I hated him. He set out to make my life hell and bullied me every day. When my parents moved house, I was glad to get away from that school and that school bully. I went on with my life and never thought much about it again. Years later, when I grew up, I bumped into some people who had been in my class. We were talking about old times, and I happened to mention the school bully. None of them had any idea what I was talking about. I told them his name, described him exactly, but they had no memory of him whatsoever. I went home and searched throughout my old yearbooks. He didn't appear in any of them. He was also missing from all the class photos. I went online and searched for his old MySpace account. It was gone. Then I checked Facebook, nothing there. I emailed everyone I had gone to school with, and every message I got back was the same. Who? I don't remember anyone like that. I don't recall anyone called Vern. There is no trace that this kid ever existed. It was as if he had been erased from history and erased from everyone's memory except mine. Wow. Okay. Ashley Brady, hello. Long time no see. Amy, hello. Hello, sis. Thank you for coming. Wow, Debbie, you became a member too. Thank you so much, Debbie. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate you all who becoming a member. Thank you. So that was the first series of stories. There were 10 of them. So I think I have 10 other, then 10 others. So let's go on to the next page of these glitch matrix stories. Okay, the second page. Here we go. Glitch in the Matrix 2. Okay, this is part 2. More glitch in the Matrix stories to creep you out. These are scary true tales of weird or unexplained events that happen to real people. It could be strange coincidences, a moment of deja vu, a premonition, or just something completely freaky. Haha. I hope you guys are enjoying these stories. Okay. Lost ID, the title of this story. My friend and I were in New York and he lost his wallet. He had to go through the process of getting a new ID card, driver's license, debit card, credit card, etc. Everything had to be replaced. 6 months later, my friend and I were stationed in Connecticut. One night, we decided to explore an abandoned, insane mausoleum that was nearby. It was called Norwich State Hospital, and it was about 10 miles up the road from our base. By the time we got there, it was after 9 p.m. And then it was an old abandoned mental hospital that looks as creepy as unsettling as any old abandoned mental hospital you can imagine. On the walls inside the cells, there were scratches and desperate pleas for help written by former patients. The place is creepy enough in the daytime, and everyone know not to go there at night because that's when the ghosts come out. While we were exploring, I needed to go to the toilet. I couldn't hold it any longer, so I went into the forest and took a pee. When I walked back to rejoin my friend, I saw something lying on the ground. I picked it up and shined my flashlight on it. It was my friend's ID. Okay. Why did you bring your ID? I asked him. I didn't, he replied. It's in the car. I handed the ID to him. He took a look at it. When he realized what he was holding in his hands, his face went pale. It was the ID that he had lost 6 months before in New York. We ran out of there so fast. I never ran like that before in my life. We got back to the car and drove off. We were so freaked out that we decided to go to the local diner, get some food, and calm ourselves down. We thought it was around 11 p.m. When we got to the diner, it was closed. We looked at our watches. It was 4 a.m. Somehow, 5 whole hours had gone by without us noticing. Ooh, now that's freaky when hours go by and you don't notice and you try to get them back. Tales told in the dark. That's Cassie, my sister. Hello. Hello, hello. Okay. Now that one was weird though. The mausoleum abandoned thing there. Ooh. Okay, this next story is called The Toilet in the Museum. Hmm. When I was 9 years old, my dad took me to the museum. We were walking around looking at the dinosaur exhibit when I suddenly needed to go to the bathroom really bad. I told my dad, I'm just going to the toilet, back in a minute, and I rushed off. I went into the bathroom. It was empty. I did my business, washed my hands, and walked out the door. However, when I walked out the door, I found myself at the space exhibit, not the dinosaur one. I thought maybe I had come out the wrong door. So I ran back into the bathroom and looked around. There was no other door, just the urinals and the toilet cubicles. That was when I started to freak out. I started pushing on the walls randomly, hoping for some kind of door. There was only one way in and one way out. I decided to try and find someone to help me. I walked out the door and boom, I found myself back in the dinosaur exhibit. My dad was standing there waiting for me. What took you so long? He said. I don't know what happened that day, but could it have been a glitch in the matrix? Hmm, what do you guys think? Joe, hello, hello, Jojo. Nice to see you. It's so fun to see you guys. Oh, this one's kind of weird. It says talking in his sleep. One night I was sleeping at my cousin's house. We were sharing the basement. I woke up around 3 a.m. and it was pitch black. I remember looking around the room as my eyes adjusted to the darkness and thinking to myself, I wonder if anyone else is awake. Just then, my cousin, who was fast asleep, said, Yes, I am. Okay, he was thinking about it. He didn't say it. And the cousin that is sleeping says, Yes, I am. Ooh. Okay, this one's a little complicated as a title. It says, Four trees, trees, trees. Three trees. It is, it's a tongue twister. Try saying that 5 times. Here we go. There were four trees in the yard beside my house for as long as I can remember. There were always four trees. One day I came home from work and there were three. There was no sign of a tree being uprooted and there was no stump. The spot where the tree should have been was grown over with grass as if nothing had ever been there. This has been bugging me for months now. I went through old pictures we took of the house, but despite taking hundreds of pictures, there are that side of none of that side of the house. Maybe I'm just crazy. It's kind of weird. I hope you guys like the new emojis too. You guys got new emojis for the new members. I'll be adding more as I get more members. Okay. Now this one's kind of odd. I remember this one. Mm, It's called Followed Home. I was driving home from work one night when I saw lights in my rear view mirror. For some reason, I felt like the car behind me was following me, and I began to feel anxious. The entrance to my neighborhood was two directions. Once you turn in, I live to the right, but I decided that I was going to turn left instead to see if the car behind me would follow. They also turned left. Getting me more worried, I decided to take random turns down a number of side streets in the neighborhood. Each time, the car behind took the same turns. I was convinced they were following me. Finally, I turned onto a dead end street and there was nowhere else to go. I pulled over at a random house and turned my lights off. As I watched the car behind me turn into the driveway of that very same house, the car doors opened and a family got out. They walked up to the house, unlocked the front door, and went inside. Somehow, I had randomly pulled over at the house where they lived. To this day, I have no idea how that happened. So he thought he was getting followed, but he was following. I don't know. That's kind of weird. Okay. Oh, this one's kind of weird too. Listen to this one. Cheating in my dreams. I had been going out with my girlfriend for 2 years. One night I had a weird dream. In the dream, I was in my bedroom and I was kissing another girl. I knew I was cheating on my girlfriend, but didn't care. Just then, I looked over at the window and I saw my girlfriend. She was just standing there, staring at us and crying hysterically. All of a sudden, I woke up. I thought it was a weird dream and it seemed so vivid, but I just tried to forget about it. A few days later, my girlfriend and I were hanging out in my bedroom. She started telling me about a weird dream she had a few days before. In the dream, she was standing at the window of my bedroom looking in, crying hysterically because she was watching me kiss another girl. It was my exact dream, except it was from her point of view. It freaked me out so much that I never told her about it. Wow. Everyday treasures, hello. Thanks for popping in. Thank you, Amy, for liking and sharing. Is getting kinky? No, I'm not getting kinky. Okay, here we go. This one is choked to death. This one's a little violent, so if you have sensitive ears, shut them off. Here we go. Uh, Choked to death. One night I had a dream that my wife and I were at my stepdaughter's school. There was a Halloween event and all the parents were there. We were just standing there when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my wife's ex husband came charging around the corner. He was in rage and he came running at me and attacked me. I had to defend myself. I wrestled with him and got him on the ground, but he wouldn't stop. I put my hands around his neck and started choking him. Just then, I saw his eyes go glossy and his body go limp. I realized I had accidentally choked him to death. I was horrified. That was when I woke up. Okay. The dream really freaked me out. It had seemed so real. I asked my wife if there was a Halloween event at the school. She said there was, and all the parents had to attend. I told her that if her ex husband shows up, I was going to leave because I was terrified that my dream might come true. So on the night of Halloween event, my wife and I went to the school. Nothing happened. Her ex-husband never showed up. I was relieved. After all, it was just a crazy dream. That night when we got home, my wife received a phone call telling her that her ex-husband had committed suicide. I got the chills. It turned out he had hung himself. He wrapped a belt around his neck and choked himself to death. It happened while we were at the Halloween event at school. Ooh, ooh. Now that's creepy. It's like he predicted the ex's death or something. This one's kind of weird. I was there, but not really there. So decide, are you there or not there? What's your thing? I'm I was going to a university in a big city. One morning I was supposed to have a lecture at 9, but I forgot to set my alarm and overslept. The strange thing was that while I was asleep, I had a dream in which I was walking down the street towards the university. It was very blurry and windy, and it felt like I was there, but not really there. I saw one of my friends across the street. He waved at me, but I kept going without acknowledging him. All of a sudden, I heard a beeping sound and I jolted awake. I looked at my phone and saw that I had one unread text message. It was from the very same friend I saw in my dream. The text message read, I just saw you in the street. Why were you acting like you didn't know me? My friend came over that evening. He said he had seen someone who looked exactly like me. When I told him about my dream, he was slightly disturbed. Ever since then, I've been at a loss to explain what happened. Now that is weird. A series. What are you guys talking about? You love the stories? Thank you, everyone. Yeah, my Santa Scream series is starting tomorrow, so that means every video from tomorrow up to the 22nd of December will be Christmas related videos. And they'll pop out at 10 in the morning, every morning, except for weekends. I took weekends off. And next Monday, the live stream of next Monday will be Christmas related. So let's continue on. Here we go. Oh, this one's kind of long a bit, but not so bad. Here we go. Life after death at the mall. One day I was sitting in class looking at the clock when I suddenly experienced the most intense and vivid daydream I ever had. It was the future. I was grown up and I was walking through the mall with a woman I had never met before, but I knew she was my girlfriend. As we were walking and talking, some guy vanished a gun and started randomly shooting people. Before I had the chance to react, I felt something hit me in the chest. When I looked down, I was standing over my own body, and there was a pool of blood spreading out around me. I watched the cause of the scene unfold in real time. My girlfriend was cuddling my body and screaming in horror. I was trying to comfort her. I watched the police shoot the killer, the crazed gunman, then the other emergency workers cleared the scene. I watched them remove my body. I tried to follow, but I was unable to leave the mall. Okay. I was a ghost and I haunted the mall for years. As a spirit, I was bored. So I would mess with the security guards during the night shift. During the business hours, I would try to interact with the customers. Every now and then, I would get someone to acknowledge me. Sometimes they would nod hello or walk around me so we wouldn't collide. I remember an elderly man sitting on one of the resting benches having a heart attack. As he was standing over his body, I walked over to comfort him. I had an overwhelming feeling that it wasn't his time to die, and when I told him so, he sank back into his body as the emergency workers were resuscitating him. One day I was sitting on one of the resting benches, and a young boy about the age of 6 or 7 years old sat down next to me. He started talking to me, and when he did, I felt something weird happen. I knew I was to leave with him. I became his invisible friend. His name was Brian, and he was an only child of a single mother. She was an abusive alcoholic. I helped him survive life. I taught him not to talk to others about me so they won't think he was crazy. Experienced I explained beginnings with Brian. I don't know what. Anyways, for years. I experienced being with Brian for years. Okay, there you go. When he was about 10 years old, his mother came home drunk. She went into a drunken trade and hit Brian. I lost my temper and was able to slam her into the wall. She never hit him again. Okay. I watched him grow up to a teenager, and when he was 18, I knew that my time with him had come to an end. We said our goodbyes, and just like that, the daydream was over. I looked at the clock, and maybe a minute had passed. I had experienced just short of 2 decades of existence as a ghost in only 1 minute of time. That that was a little complicated to understand, but weird. Okay, so here's this one's pretty weird. This is the last one for this page. Then we got another page to go to. The golf balls. One year for Christmas, I received a pack of 3 bright orange golf balls. They were labeled 1, 2, and 3 in black text, so you could always tell which ball was missing. One afternoon, I was playing golf in the backyard when I hit one of the balls too far. It landed in a bush. I went into the bush and found the ball immediately. It was sitting on a pile of leaves. The strange thing was when I looked at all the 3 balls, something was wrong. The numbers on the balls were 1, 2, and 2. I searched everywhere for over an hour looking for the number 3 ball, but I couldn't find it. To this day, I still have a 1, a 2, and a 2. I believe that in some alternate dimension there is probably a version of me who is also very puzzled because he has a 1, a 3, and a 3. Their balls got mixed up. Mary Ann, hello. Nice to see you. Okay, so we are on the last page. How many stories do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Oh, okay. Not too bad, guys. We're almost there. Okay. Glitch in the Matrix 3. More glitch in the Matrix stories to creep you out. I hope they're working. I hope they're creeping you out in some way. Some are kind of too weird to be creeped or scared or what. hmm So these last 6 stories I have not read, so I don't know what they're talking about either. So we're going to be equal on these ones. 1 hour. Okay, that's the title of the story. Years ago, I was driving home with 2 of my friends. We were about 25 minutes away when we turned on a dead end road. The moon was full and the road was completely empty. Suddenly, everything went completely dark in the car. The headlights turned off, the dashboard lights turned off, the radio turned off. Everything. We looked out the window. There was now a vehicle in front of us that had been pulled over by the police. It hadn't been there a split second before. We all sat there stunned. After about a minute, my friend who was driving said, "Did that just happen to anyone else? My other friend in the back seat exclaimed, I thought I just fell asleep. Then we realized that the clock on the dashboard was an hour later than it had just been a minute before. To keep ourselves from freaking out, we tried to tell ourselves that maybe there was an electrical failure. But when we arrived home 25 minutes later, we were over an hour late. Somehow we lost 1 whole hour of our lives, and to this day, we have no idea how it happened. Who losing an hour, that's like earlier before they lost hours too, lost track of time. It's like, where did it go? That is creepy. The cab. Oh, I don't know this one. You see stuff all the time. I see stuff all the time that makes me think there is a huge glitch in the matrix. I wouldn't like to see that. I'd be scared, I think. I don't know. Okay, so the cab. What's this story about? When I was at college, I worked at a bar. One of my responsibilities was to stay late some nights to close up. One night around 4 a.m., I closed up the bar and had to leave through the back door. It opened on a small back street. I locked the door behind me, but when I turned around, I saw two groups of shady looking dudes on my left and my right. I was surrounded. Ooh, ooh. They started shouting at me, and I heard them say, Let's get him. Before I had a chance to run, I was blinded by headlights. The shady looking dudes had to move out of the way because a car was coming through. Oh, it was a cab. The driver pulls up in front of me with the window rolled down and asks, are you Jeff? I said, Yes. And he said, Someone called a cab for you. Okay, that's weird. I jumped into the cab and he drove off. The cab driver drove me all the way to my apartment and I paid him. To this day, I had no idea who called that cab for me. I have a sneaky feeling that in some other reality, there's a guy named Jeff who got murdered that night because he called a cab that never came. Oh my God, what a change of events! Wow. Now that is freaky. Ooh, this one gave me goosebumps. Wow. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Oh, the next one. It's called The Black Hole. I was 10 years old, and my parents had taken me to visit, I don't know, Rockaway Island? I don't know. It's an old fishing island off the coast of North Carolina. So maybe you people that are close by could correct me on the name. We were staying at Blackbeard's Lodge. The lodge No, The Legend of the Blackbeard, the pirate, is a big deal on the island. Okay, so I'll just start over to make sure. Oak, I think it's Oak, Oak Island. Not sure. Looks like it. Okay, let me start this one over. Sorry, guys. I was 10 years old, and my parents had took me to visit Oak Island. Let's say it's Oak Island. It's an old fishing island off the coast of North Carolina. We were staying at Blackbeard's Lodge. The legend of Blackbeard the pirate is a big deal on the island. Okay. We had just settled into our room, and my dad had gone out to get some sodas from the vending machine. I was lying on one of the beds with my mom, and we were watching TV. All of a sudden, the television switched channels. It seemed to be a science show that was aimed at children. It was about black holes, and it featured an animated cartoon character explaining everything. Okay, take a sip. Hold on. So here we go. Even though the TV had changed channels on its own, my mother and I didn't do anything. It was as if we were in a trance. We couldn't move and just lay there as still as rocks. I vividly remembered seeing the cartoon character getting struck into the black hole. Then the TV suddenly turned off, and right before our eyes, a black hole appeared on the wall beside our bed. It was just a black swirl hole in the wall, about a foot and a half wide. We both just sat there frozen, staring at the black hole. Just then, my father walked in, and the black hole disappeared. Needless to say, we left the hotel right then and lodged in another one on the other side of the island. When we talked about it later, my mom reckoned the story the same way I did, and my dad says he saw the hole on the wall. Whew, that was a complicated long one. Louisa, hello. You see numbers falling. Yeah, that's the Matrix. Like the movie. So did you guys choose your pill, the red one or the blue one? Did I miss saying hi to someone that popped in? Oh, yes, the Bud Files. Hello, the Bud Files. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so let's go on. We're almost done. The brass bed. Uh-oh. No everyday treasures. I'm not getting kiki again. Talking about a brass bed before you say something. Okay, here we go. When I was 10 years old, my parents took me on vacation. We stayed in a nice little cottage on the edge of a lake. There was an abandoned house on the other side of the lake. One day, my father decided to check it out and brought me with him. Oh, cool. Then we unscrewed the lock on the back door and went inside. The house was musty and dark, and there were newspapers scattered on the ground. We wandered around and the ground we wandered the ground floor. I remember there was a low hum in the background and we couldn't tell where it was coming from. After a while, we went upstairs to take a look. Uh, there was a long hallway with 4 doors that led into the bedrooms. We entered the first room and found it empty except for a huge brass bed. There was no mattress, just a brass frame. It was too large to fit through the door, so it must have been assembled inside the room. We moved on to the second room, which was completely empty. The third room was empty too. We were about to go into the last room when we suddenly heard a loud crash. My father rushed to the top of the stairs and looked down, but there was nobody there and nothing seemed to be out of place. He shrugged his shoulders and came back. He shoveled his shoulders and came back down the hallway. We opened the door of the fourth room and looked inside. It was completely empty except for a huge brass bed frame. My father and I exchanged looks. He ran back down the hall and looked into the first room. I heard him let out a yip of surprise. I ran down the hall to join him, and when I looked into the first room, I was horrified. It was completely empty. Both of us ran down the stairs and got out of that house as fast as possible. We didn't stop running until we got back to our cottage. To this day, I have no idea how that huge brass bed got from the first room to the fourth room. My father refused to talk about it. That was the last time we ever went exploring an abandoned house. Oh, creepy. Imagine that happening. Nicole, hello, Nicole. Yeah, so in the first bedroom, it's empty, but there's a big brass bed that must have been assembled inside the room because it's so big. And they went down the hall in all the other rooms. And when they arrived at the last one, it was empty too, but the bed was there. So they ran back to the first one and the bed wasn't there. That's weird. Okay, so let's move on. This is the second to last story. I I haven't read these two last ones either, so I wonder what's it going to be. Oh, strange title: The Acoustic Guitar. Okay. When I was 15 years old, my father gave me an old acoustic guitar. It was a nice it was nice being beginner instrument. It was a nice beginner instrument, but I eventually grew out and brought a new one. I decided to give the old one away. Several weeks later, I was driving home late at night and I needed to stop for gas. I pulled into a gas station and filled up the tank. After I paid inside, I walked out and noticed something odd in my car windshield. There was a face in the window staring back at me. Huh? Seriously creeped out. I yelled, "What are you doing in my car? Get out." The door of my car opened and I saw a tall man step out. As soon as he got out, he took off running and disappeared into the night. I ran over to check my car. It wasn't damaged and nothing seemed to be missing. Curiously, I got into the car and turned on the lights. Nothing appeared to be damaged or stolen. Then I looked in the back seat and noticed something there. It was wrapped up in a blanket. Nervously, I reached out and unwrapped it. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was my old acoustic guitar and stuck stuck on the front was a note that read, "You need this more than I do." To this day, I have no clue who the man was, why he had my guitar, and what the note meant. That's kind of weird. A weird story. I guess the glitch in the Matrix is weird too, I guess. I have trouble following that one. A guitar. Yeah, a guitar. Okay, so this is the last story for tonight, guys. It's called Dead Batteries. Oh, what did we get ourselves into now? Here we go. One night I was driving home alone, a dark county road. Hold on, I gotta take a sip. My mouth is dry. Sorry. Okay, I'll start over. One night I was driving home alone, a dark county road. It was after 10 p.m. There wasn't much traffic and there were no street lights. All of a sudden, my headlights started flickering. Then the lights on the dashboard started flickering too. I started getting annoyed because I thought there was a problem with the electrical system. At that moment, the car stalled. Hold on. Oh, my voice. The car stalled. I managed to pull over to the side of the road before it ground to a complete halt. Oh, sorry, I'm drinking and drinking. Okay, here we go. The car was dead. I kept turning the key in the ignition, but nothing happened. I took out my phone to call for help, but it was off. It was supposed to be fully charged. I kept pressing the button, but no matter what, it wouldn't turn on. I was starting to freak out because it was pitch black outside and I was stranded. I opened the glove box and felt around for a little flashlight I kept there. I found it, but when I flicked the switch, the flashlight wouldn't turn on. My mind was racing. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with my car, so I decided to check the battery. I reached down and popped the hood. Okay, and then after what happened next, I still can't explain. I something have what? There's missing like a word here or something. I sometimes have nightmares. Okay. What happened next, I still can't explain. I sometimes have nightmares about it. The radio on the dashboard suddenly lit up, but the display was blank. The speakers started hissing and popping. I heard a voice. It sounded like a woman's voice, mumbling in a language I couldn't recognize. After about 10 seconds of mumbling, it suddenly stopped and the radio went dark. Where are we getting with this story? The hair on the back of my neck was standing on edge. I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. I sat in my car for a long time, paralyzed with fear. After a while, I tried the key in the ignition. When it turned when I turned it, my car started right away. I drove home as fast as I could, and I didn't sleep a wink that night. To this day, I still have no idea what happened. Me neither. What a weird, strange thing. That one was a weird one. Well, you guys are leaving gifts for Santa. Well, that's all the stories that I got for a glitch in the Matrix. That was like pretty interesting, though. It was a little longer than usual, but hey, we got it. We got it done. That was scary too. Yeah, it was kind of scary. Like, what? Where are we going with this story? And the last one there. So I hope you guys enjoyed your evening with me. I sure enjoyed myself with all of you here listening to these weird stories. Yes, it was pretty fun. And next week, the live stream will be something about Christmas. So if you're curious, come and watch this. I think it's going to be, yeah, um, stories for naughty kids. Hmm. Can't wait to see what that's going to be about. So if you're curious like me, be here next Monday night, 9 p.m. And tomorrow, starting tomorrow, the Santa Screams series is starting. This is my Christmas special. So yeah, everything's going to be Christmas from tomorrow morning, 10 p.m. You'll see my first Christmas special video. I hope you all enjoyed. You are for sure a naughty girl. Oh, yeah, you'll see next week the naughty stories for naughty children. I wish. That'd be funny. Okay, so on that note, guys, have a wonderful week. And remember, I love you all very much and appreciate you all very much for watching and listening to my stories and stuff. I'm just having a ball here with all of you, and I'm really privileged to have you all. So, on that note, if you like this live stream, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing for more wild live streams like this. And I'll see you around the broom somewhere. Love you all very much and have a wonderful week.